My boy, ain't you? My best pal. My best mate. Hello, my name is Stacey Dooley. I'm a documentary presenter and I'm about to show you some objects that represent my life. I'm going to start with the Dooley tuck knot family portrait. So this was the first picture we took as a family. I've sort of turned into one of those women that refers to their dogs as a son, which is incredibly naff. I'm madly in love with him. So it's me, Bernie the Bulldog, and ST, my boyfriend Sam. This sits in the living room. It's funny, I think the more that you travel, and this sounds sort of very Miss World, but the more grateful you become for the people around you and the love that you have. It's always lovely to sort of walk into the flat. Bernie's jumping, he's really excited. ST's waiting with a cup of tea. So I love them both very much. They're my boys, and here we all are. Bernie, come here. Come say hello to the camera. What's this? Come here. Oh, you're so handsome. So this is Bernie, my bulldog. I never really got it. You know, when people were like, this is my dog and I'm so in love with him, and we'd have to sit through sort of 20 to 30 pictures of their dog. I was like, but now, yeah, I'm totally obsessed. This is him in all his glory. Hey, Bern. Personality-wise, I would say he's incredibly stubborn, he's naughty, he's attention-seeking. He actually sounds like me from about 13 to 17 years old. These passports, so I've probably been through 2 passports already, ran out of space, and these are my more recent passports. I think, do you know what, I try and keep hold of them all, because I think it'd be nice in a couple of years, you know, if I have kids or whatever, to be able to talk them through where I've been, what I've done. It's such a huge privilege, isn't it, to travel, especially with work. Taiwan, Philippines, America. This is shopping, that's embarrassing, isn't it? All these receipts from when I went wild in the aisles. Cambodia, Mexico, showing off, aren't I? Iraq, this one's cool, look. Never thought I'd fly into Baghdad. Russia, I look like a bit of a criminal there. So yeah, these are very special. Do you know what, it's funny, isn't it, how things work out? I had no real desire to travel, particularly when I was younger. You know, I didn't really place huge emphasis on having a career. It was something that happened very organically. It was very unorthodox. So I went to India when I was 20 as a contributor, took part in a series called Blood, Sweat and T-Shirts. The premise was really straightforward, sort of send 6 British consumers to India to show us how the high street fashion world works, and fell into presenting that way. So every day, it sounds really cheesy, but it's totally true, I really mean it. Every day I feel particularly grateful and, you know, very privileged to do what I do for a living. My interest in sort of women's issues and women's rights and gender equality came a few years later down the line. As I was travelling, it just became apparent so quickly that women were often up against it that bit more than men in really hostile, depressing situations. And then it just evolved, and that's how the book came about. Yeah, 2017, I was in Russia. I've been in Russia a couple of times with work, and we were making a documentary about the fact that they have recently amended one of their laws. They have decriminalised certain forms of domestic violence, which, needless to say, I find completely insane. Anyway, we were spending time in a refuge, and I'd just done a really hardcore interview with a really amazing woman, and I had to go. And she ran out after me, and obviously, you know, I don't speak Russian, she couldn't speak English, and she just sort of just handed me this doll, just gave me a kiss on the cheek and ran off. And it's quite a predictable thing to say, but I do find it's true. You know, those that have the least will often give you the most, and so yeah, I'm delighted with that. I think it's got 4, 2, 3, Yeah? Bernie, get down! When the documentaries go out, people will often message me, saying, how can I help? I'm totally moved, can't believe what I've seen, this is outrageous. I think there are a couple of things you can do. I think raising awareness, first and foremost, is really important. If we know it's going on, then we have the ability to be outraged and potentially do something about it. I think volunteering's a great thing. Donations help, not even just money, cash sometimes isn't even useful, just your time or sending bits that you no longer need. Every little helps, and I think it can be quite tempting when it feels so enormous to say, what help am I going to bring? Me, one person doing something isn't going to touch the sides, but if we all thought like that, then nothing would change. So little by little, I would say. The next thing I want to show you is this picture here, look. So this is a picture, it's quite tiny, I don't know if you can see it. This is a picture of one of the Yazidi girls fighting in northern Iraq. I've been to Iraq a couple of times. This was the first time I went. And I was making a documentary about this group of girls who had been kidnapped by ISIS in 2014. Mount Sinjar. So ISIS had targeted the Yazidis, the Yazidi community, specifically because they just believe they're devil worshippers. And they systematically raped all the women and killed all the men. And so these girls had escaped remarkably and had formed an army, and they were training to go back onto the front line and kill their perpetrators. So the bravery, they're so remarkable. The strength that these girls have is just completely mind-blowing. I spent a couple of weeks with them. And when I was leaving, they were giving me gifts, and I had like a lippy, like a purple lipstick. And we were quite pally, and she gave me this picture and she said, "Oh, don't ever forget me," as if I would, you know what I mean? So that stays in my drawer. Of course, it's incredibly important to keep telling these stories, because you've got to remember, these girls don't have the luxury of being able to fight for what they believe in on an international scale. So, the BBC is hugely respected. We're able to show this documentary to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. And so I think as long as there's that sense of awareness and we know what's going on, then you can fight for change, But that's what these documentaries hopefully do. They give those that need a voice a platform that they wouldn't have otherwise. So these pictures are of my nan, Hazel, Crazy Haze, they used to call her. And that's me and her. She's dead now. She was so funny. And everything actually I respect in a woman. She was kind, she was fierce, she didn't take no shit. She had a great sense of humour. She had pubs, so we grew up in pubs, above the pubs. And I used to come down and have to clean the ashtrays out, with a paintbrush. And if I did a good job, she'd give me a bottle of Orangina and some pork scratchings. But I miss her, actually. She was great fun to be around. That was her when she was younger, look. Often people say that I look like my nan. Not me mum, my nan. Yeah, Crazy Haze. Everyone has been hugely supportive. I think my biggest cheerleader is probably my mother, but also actually my biggest critic, I've got to say. It's funny, the books came yesterday. My mum sent me a lovely text, I'm so delighted and bursting with pride, your nan would have been thrilled. She's also often not that impressed, there's no kind of airs and graces. I remember I'd rang her up to tell her I was going to be on something. She's at bingo. "Oh, Mum," it's news now, something like that. Radio 4, something quite highbrow. "Oh, I'm going to be doing this." She went, "I'm just waiting for a number at bingo stairs. Can I give you a call back?" Just put the phone down. I was like, there you go. Kept in my place. There are loads of photos here, but I think that's maybe because I travel so much. Yeah, it's nice to Remind yourself that you have got your own life back at home. Work can be all consuming. You know, sometimes you're filming, no exaggeration, 15 hours a day. The stories are quite harrowing, the circumstances are quite chaotic, and so it is important, I think, to go back to the hotel room, you know, have a shower if there is one, and, you know, look at your photos, go through your phone. This camera, well, when you work in telly, you know, you hear people talking about cameras and lenses and shallow depth of field. So I should have like a really happening posh camera. Actually, there's these two that we're filming on. This is what I should have. But this was quite cheap. I found it down the lanes. And I love the fact that, you know, you can take a picture and then you've got it straight away. When I first got it, I was taking it everywhere. Everywhere I went, I was taking pictures of everything. Coffee, picture. Bernie, picture. Me, picture. But then you realise that the film's quite pricey. So you're a bit more selective, but I try and take it when I'm travelling. Yeah. I say it every year, it's like my New Year's resolution to take as many pictures as possible, because, you know, you want to be able to show everyone in 10 or 15 years' time, when you're completely washed up, that you had a really happening 10 years. It felt like the right time to take a step back and, you know, write down everything that we've done over the last 10 years. A decade's a long time, and I've spent most of that with amazing, remarkable women doing awesome, incredible things. It does feel very, very strange to see this now in all its glory. But I just hope people read it and are as blown away as I was when they read about these women. They're a force to be reckoned with, and I think about them all often. I'm very grateful. I've learnt so much from the people I've met during my travels. I think, you know, that we have so much here at our disposal, and we are so fortunate in so many ways. You know, UK is far from perfect, but in comparison to lots of other places all around the world, we are so lucky. You know, freedom of speech, the ability to vote, the gender equality even being at the forefront of our minds is huge. So that's probably the biggest thing I take from them. Yeah, obviously, you know, we've had this huge anniversary. It's been 100 years. What would I like to see happen in the next 100 years? I think different things need to happen in different parts of the world. I think in the UK, we need to make sure that women who are doing exactly the same job as men are being paid in exactly the same way. I think we've seen lots of brave women come forward, especially over the last couple of years, who have been victims, now survivors, who need to be believed. I think there's often been lots of public shaming. That needs to stop. Looking a bit further afield, we need to make sure that all women have the same rights as men. I think it is that straightforward, you know. I think there's often lots of women or lots of people telling girls how to do feminism, and it's actually very straightforward, and it doesn't have to be complicated at all. Essentially, if you believe that men and women are equals, then that makes you a feminist. So hopefully there's lots more to come.